Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to this regular board business meeting of the Loveland School Board. We call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Reverend Eilert,
Here.
Mrs. Jaranek,
Here.
Mrs. Mangan,
Here.
Dr. Swetchenow,
Here.
Mrs. Washburn.
As far as we know, we're still expecting Mrs. Washburn here shortly. All right, I invite you all to stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
All right, the board agenda was posted at the end of last week. We have a motion to adopt the agenda for this meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Jaranek,
Yes.
Mrs. Mangan,
Yes.
Dr. Swetchenow.
Yes.
Reverend Eilert.
Yes. Thank you. And minutes were posted as well from our April 1st work session. Any additions, corrections to the minutes as presented? We have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Mangan, Dr. Swetchenow.
Yes.
Reverend Eilert,
Yes.
Mrs. Jaranek.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, next we have the welcoming of guests. I don't see any guests here today. It's just normal. Actually, we have a lot of guests here, and thank you all for being here tonight. Great to have you here. I know we've got a number of staff members along with community members, and I think we have at least one member of the public that is here for a hearing of the public. Correct?
We do.
All right,
Terry Puckett.
great. Terry, invite you forward.
Myself organized here.
You could go.
Good evening. My name is Terry Puckett. I am a city and school district resident and a homeowner and a graduate of Loveland Schools. I'm speaking tonight against the recent instruction from the Department of Education that public schools receiving federal funds certify that they do not utilize or promote diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility practices. On the surface, the instruction appears to enforce equality before the law, but careful watchers of the last 80 days know and understand the deeper harmful intent. The lead up to this action was Executive Order 14173 of January 21st, which stated that DEI and DEIA policies are, quote, dangerous, demeaning, and immoral race and sex-based preferences, end quote. To certify or not means that leadership must make a choice. Which Loveland students are worthy of respect and which are not. If you do not certify, we lose federal funds, which will greatly limit opportunities for all students as we adjust spending priorities. If you certify, we keep federal funds, but many students will stop seeing themselves in the stories read, the music played, and the lessons learned. As an historian, I think in terms of those stories. Certification would mean, for example, knowing Martin Luther King's "I Have a Dream" speech exists without knowing why it was written as a dream, or hearing Beethoven's music without knowing he composed works of genius after going deaf, or how the Allies won World War II and how that war changed the US afterwards without understanding the world of Tuskegee Airmen, Navajo Code Talkers, the 442nd, Alan Turing, or the many, many Rosie the Riveters. Can it be done? Yes, but at a steep academic price. Because without the full context, education becomes memorization of random facts, good for nothing except trivia at the bar. A few years ago, I was invited by my grandniece to attend lunch in a classroom event at LPS. Between the two was recess. The only adult guest, I went to the playground and I saw a bench in the shade by the building. Being old, I sat down. No less than 3 times, students approached me to ask if I needed a friend or if I wanted to play. I had no idea that there was such a thing as a buddy bench. Can you imagine how amazing it felt to be included? Now imagine taking that feeling away from students needing it the most. Our schools are 5-star excellent. The success and achievement of our students and graduates comes because each and every one see themselves in what is being taught from kindergarten to graduation. This intentional inclusion should be respected as necessary to that five-star success. Keeping funding by abandoning Tiger core values will eliminate that hard-won excellence, push families to send their kids elsewhere, and demonstrate to every current and former student that care, respect, and responsibility are a lie. As you work together to make this difficult decision, I send you strength for clarity of purpose and for centering all Loveland's children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is the board president report. And I think there are a couple other board members that have things to share from different meetings that have happened in the last month. Christina, do you want to go first?
Oh, sure. I have a couple since March and April for the Great Oaks. So in March, we had a great dinner and we got to see Live Oaks. So the culinary students, there were about 3 to 4 Loveland students there, but the whole team of culinary had cooked this nice meal for all the board of directors. And during that session, all the board of directors are being asked to attend the different programs at Great Oaks to learn more about what they offer to our students. In April, board meetings began discussing the park and recreation pathway, and then that's a newer program being offered at Live Oaks, and the number of interested students in this program, along with their aviation electric vehicles program utilizing the Honda plant north of Washington Courthouse. Enrollment acceptances went out in March, and students are confirming their acceptances, and we are coming up on all the ceremonies for certifications and programs that they have. So Scarlet Oaks, May 12th, Live Oaks, May 13th, Diamond Oaks, May 13th, Laura Oaks, May 15th. Project Search, which is for our students who have additional supports and disabilities, get to 10 different programs. So they have an honoring ceremony on the 19th, and then the adult workforce on June 18th. If anybody's interested in wanting to attend, just let me know and I can get you the data, all at NKU Truist Arena.
Sure. Just a couple of updates coming from the school foundation. So the school foundation has been supporting the Green Team and Tigers Inc. at the high school as they're fundraising for the Steve Kenyon Memorial Classroom. They have raised, I think, over close to $75,000 in cash donations and about another $75,000 in kind donations. So that is moving along really nicely. And some of those funds have moved over to the district to start the purchase process for actually the classroom being built out. So that is amazing and great to watch our students in action, and the community members, both individual donors as well as business donors, have been extremely generous for this project. So it's a great way to support our students as well as honor Mr. Kenyon. So that is happening at the foundation, as well as the foundation has a number of scholarships they support and administer that will all be happening at the senior awards recognition on the 30th. And then the foundation also supports graduation assistance for fees for students that are graduating and maybe are unable to cover their fees. So that work is all continuing. A lot of work. We just had a communications committee meeting. I hope everybody in this room knows that there's a town hall tomorrow night for state funding. But a lot of our communication has been focused around state funding and advocacy. And so we've appreciated the community members that we've heard from. Both our Little Miami and Claremont Chamber have supported us and sent letters to legislators in support of what we're trying to do for state funding. So that is great. Mr. Setters, as we move into next year, we're working on our district calendar, and we'll look to make some positive changes for the district calendar next year. And then the community advisory team meetings and people that want to participate, that application is open now. So all the dates are out for next year. So we would love to continue to have a large number of people participating there. And then did have a community member that reached out about gun safety and the importance of guns being stored properly. And so we're going to take, Mr. Broadwetter is going to take that we have a regular meeting with our school resource officers, and we're going to talk to them about that and making sure that we are educating our community as well. So more to come on that topic. Yeah, things are moving along
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I was just going to add on to that. We also discussed that we're looking at student representatives for grades 9 through 12 to participate in the Tiger Council. And then 10th to 12th graders can sign up to be interested in our student reps like we have here tonight. We also have Loveland U coming on May 7th. So it's an organization through the city of Loveland, getting city members, residents, some opportunities to learn about our great city and our different departments that we have here. So we are having those guests here at LES on May 7th. So they'll have a tour, talk about a variety of things of what our school district does. So it's just getting the information out to more members of our community.
Thank you. Eric, anything from you?
Mine's easy because it's very, very boring, which is good. And I get to push most of it off to Mr. Espy, which is even better. Our finance committee meetings, as you can imagine, are revolving around the uncertainty about state budgeting process and how we deal with that in the future. We've kind of made the decision not to make any decisions, so we have more clarity on exactly how we're going to be affected. And obviously, a lot of our messaging is about it, rallying the support of our community to point out how these decisions made at the state level will affect each and every individual homeowner and taxpayer in Loveland. And then the second part is even more exciting, which is, and if anybody feels like staying until section 6.3, you'll be able to hear all about it. We're having our second reading of a number of board policies.
Thank you. I don't know if we've mentioned it here yet or not, but the Kiwanis Club is newly reorganized in Loveland, and our own Christina Jarnick is the president of the Kiwanis Club. And they do a lot of work in schools, working alongside of our staff, trying to encourage leadership among our students. So we'll look forward to seeing how that develops in the coming months. But I want to thank Christina for stepping forward to serve in a leadership role there as well. All right. I think that's it for the president's report. So we'll move on to, what's that? I know, I thought Mike was doing that. at the beginning.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay.
So next we had the administrator reports, 2.2, and I believe those were all attached. I don't think there's anything that we need to highlight there. There were some good things in there. Hopefully you all noticed, particularly in the teacher and learning. Underneath, there were a number of updates to the handbook that are coming that are good to make sure you take a look at. So next, let's move to 2.3, student representatives. Who's going first?
I'm Ronan Wolfer, and I'm presenting the LMS LAS board report for March. The week before spring break marked Hope Week at LMS and LIS, a week of kindness and mental health advocacy sponsored by our very own Hope Squads. With themes and activities planned each day to support student and staff mental health and to promote kindness, our students participated in things such as a petting zoo, therapy dogs, and a school scavenger hunt. I would like to thank guest presenters from 1 and 5, NAMI, and the Ben Morrison Memorial Fund for their support of the event. LAS students also participated in the Kids Heart Challenge to raise money for the American Heart Association. The highest scorers of the Hot Shots Blitz for Hoops for Heart got to compete in front of their grade levels for their assemblies. Thanks to Mrs. Orsinelli for organizing the fundraiser and our LHS basketball players who participated in the fun. Thanks to all the families who donated and raised money for a good cause. Ohio State testing begins at LAS and LMS on March 8th and goes through March 23rd. Science Day was a huge success with engaging fun presentations and hands-on activities. A huge thanks to Sudapa, Paul, and Mint PTSA for planning and supporting these amazing day for our students. Thanks to all the volunteers and presenters for donating their time to support our students. This was an amazing showing of community support for our building. Our 7th grade students will soon take their field trip to the Little Miami River to participate in their River Explorers program. River Explorers Trip is an innovative, inquiry-based outdoor learning lab. It provides experiential, environmental-focused STEM education about the Ohio River and its watershed. in Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. Thanks to our 7th grade science teachers for coordinating this experience for our students. Just before spring break, the 6th grade took a field trip to the Holocaust and Humanities Center to learn more about world history. All of our 6th grade students experienced a guest speaker from the Holocaust and Humanities Center. They learned about their experiences, what it means to be an upstander. Thanks to Mrs. Kirby for setting up this experience for our students. I would also like to thank the Ohio Holocaust and Genocide Memorial and Education Commission, which fully funded the trip and guest speakers through a grant that we applied for and were awarded. On Tuesday, March 11th, 7th grade students listened to community volunteers who presented on their jobs and careers, while our 8th grade students traveled to the JA to Inspire to Hire career fair at NKU. Big thanks to all of our volunteer presenters and to Mr. Drews Mitchell for his support of the project for students. The end of the school year at the middle school campus is very busy, with LMS Interview Day on May 1st, 4th grade step-up days, where 4th graders come to see the intermediate school on May 6th through 8th, LIS LMS Music and Art Festival, May 8th, 6th grade International Day, May 9th, 6th grade Reds Field Trip, May 12th and 13th, the 5th grade Zoo Field Trip on May 16th, the LMS Kings Island Incentive Trip on May 14th, 5th grade Field Day, May 19th, 6th grade Field Day on May 20th, the 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip will be on May 19th through the 22nd. And to close, I would just like to thank everyone here for all the work they do for the smooth running of our school district.
Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm Ellie, and I'm the representative for the high school. It's been an eventful month at the high school, to say the least. So to start off, last week we celebrated Hope Week, which was super fun. My personal favorite day we had was student staff swap, and we kind of got roasted by the teachers for wearing so many sweatpants and leggings. That's okay. The Do It for Jack presentation was truly incredible and so moving. And the fact that they come and talk to us and they, educate us about those things that are almost taboo, but they shouldn't be. And it was so nice to hear from them. Additionally, we wore purple today in support of Military Child Month. And this day is important to show students across the district that there are students across our district who have a parent in the military, and they're very brave every single day. And on another note, everyone's favorite time of year is upon us. It's testing season. Uh, in elementary school, I was so excited for the end of the year because it was like movies and parties, and now it's tests. So today was EOCs, tomorrow is EOCs, and next week are also EOCs, which the seniors love because we don't have any of those. So we don't have to go to school on some of those days. The new testing schedule, though, is actually really nice, and our AP testing will also be coming up soon. And finally, I wanted to say thank you to the board and everyone who's helped me become a student representative. I've gone to Loveland since preschool, and in 4th grade, I watched my older brother Joe be a student representative. So little known fact, he is actually the reason why I'm a rep. I'm very thankful for him and for everyone who's helped me along my journey. With that, have a great rest of your night and an amazing summer.
You too.
As Ellie sits down, this will be the last board meeting for Ellie and Ronan. So I'm going to present you with sweatshirts. I saw these on eBay for about $75. The B Loveland, and as an added bonus, you get to take your nameplate, which hopefully it's spelled correctly on there. I want to say thank you very much. I really enjoy having our students up there talking and getting to know you. And I appreciate all the work that you put in. Our other two board reps were not able to be here. I know CJ's got a baseball game. Otherwise, he'd be here with his bow tie on, and he couldn't make it. So, but I appreciate all that you have done and do for us. And I hope you have a great end of the year. And it sounds like the seniors have a pretty good schedule the rest of the way. So good. Thank you very much.
All right. And on behalf of the board, thanks to both of you as well. We really always appreciate your input. We value you as a part of this meeting, and making sure we have the student voice here is incredibly important to us. So thanks for taking the time to be here and for all that you've done for Loveland Schools. Appreciate it. All right, so moving on in the agenda to the superintendent update. And that's why we've got lots of folks here, because we're celebrating some really great things that have been happening in the district. And so take it away, Mr. Broadwell.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about some things other than school finance for a few minutes
Sure.
and talk about education. And first of all, I guess I'm going to talk about school finance. I'm going to say congratulations to our treasurer, John Espy, and the Treasury Department. They achieved or were awarded the Auditor of State Award just this past week. So I say congratulations to John, his entire department. We have Rachel Clemens, who is our assistant treasurer, Melissa Martin, Kay Pierce, Debbie Reardon. They work very, very hard, dotting their I's and crossing their T's in the treasurer department. So John, congratulations. And I think this is the first time since I've been at the district, we've achieved it. About maybe 5 or 6 years it's been
6
since
years,
we've done
yeah.
that.
2019.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
If I could say one thing, I want to recognize everyone in the district. While it's a financial award, I think, it really requires everyone in the district to do the right thing. And sometimes very, very rarely is the right thing the easiest thing. And so I know we've put in a lot of safeguards this year and last year as I first came on. And I just want to recognize the entire district for all their hard work. And I think it's a district award. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, we're really, as a board, very appreciative of your leadership and everything that you've done in that regard. I know Eric can attest, when Eric first came on the board, there were all kinds of questions of trust and transparency and working through all of those issues. And so the district really has come a long way in that time. And as you said, it takes everyone working together to make that happen. But it's been your leadership in this last year plus that has made a huge difference in helping us to advance on those goals. So we're very appreciative of what you've done and the fact that you've been able to have the staff come alongside of you and accomplish this together. So thank you for all of your work.
And if it's okay, I'd just like to
Yes,
chime in
please.
on that. When I first started, the community members were demanding that the auditor of state come in to audit us because we must be doing something wrong. And you've turned it completely around where they're now acknowledging how well we're doing compared to our peers in the state. And if I remember correctly, it's just over 10% of the districts get this award. So 1 out of the 10 school districts in Ohio are acknowledged in this way. And that's really been due to your leadership directly, which I appreciate.
Thank you.
All right, before we introduce some of our groups, I am going to mention that it was Purple Up Day for military children, and I want to recognize all of the sacrifices, obviously, they make, their families make, if they've got a loved one in the armed forces, just to say thank you and recognize that it is a sacrifice, and we appreciate it very much. I saw a lot of purple out in the buildings, which is a cheery spring color anyway, but we thank all of our kids that are involved in that. So I'm going to turn it over. We had an AI cohort this year, and we discussed with the board, with Lynn and Jonathan, the AI and where we're going. And the thought was at the beginning of this year to try and get ahead of where all of this is going, the artificial intelligence, and what's it mean for our students, what's it mean for our staff, and how's it going to work. And I'm happy to say that we've got some of our participants of that cohort here this evening to let everybody know what was discussed and kind of where we're moving forward as a district. There was a question as to whether or not we had a policy. We do have a policy for AI, but what we discuss is a lot more than that, right? It's how we're going to work with AI in the classroom. And so I am excited to hear what we have to say. So I'm going to turn it over to Jane Miller and let her get started. Jane is the assistant principal at our elementary school.
Thank you for that nice introduction. Well, good evening. I'm Jane Miller, the assistant principal of Loveland Elementary School, and I have with me my Carol Huxold, who's our reading intervention teacher for 3rd and 4th grade, and Becky Steele. You guys can come up here with me, our 3rd grade math teacher. And we were really lucky this year that we got to participate with other teachers and administrators throughout Loveland City School District on a 6-series AI cohort led by Matthew from Forward Edge. So First of all, if this is offered again next year, he's an amazing teacher and lots of really cool things to learn. The goal of the AI cohort was really to elevate our learning about AI and how it can impact all of us in our jobs, just not the teachers, but us as administrators. So we made a really cool, it's hard to see up there, but we'll go back to the word art. We'll get it there, Adam. That just shows you a glimpse of lots of different words and phrases on how we can use AI in the classroom and in all of our jobs. It doesn't matter what job you are using. In the next 5 minutes, we're just going to quickly just talk about different ways that we have learned about AI and how we are now using them in our job. And when I thought about this the other day, Amanda, I don't know if she's here, from middle school, she created a really cool PowerPoint of vast ways to use AI. But I was like, what am I going to share with them tonight? And I thought at the very, very basic level, if you're not familiar with AI, you need to check out what's called ChatGPT. And what it is at the very basic level is you get a prompt and you type in a prompt or a question, and voila, in seconds, it gives you all kinds of information. So in my job, I do a lot with student services. It can give me answers to questions. It can help teachers generate lesson plans. It can help us with attendance tracking. It can help teachers, and you're going to see here in a minute, we can put in a passage at a 4th grade reading level text, and Carol works with kids maybe who have challenges in reading, and we need to quickly adapt that reading level from a 5th grade passage to a 1st grade passage. We can upload it, and in seconds, we have a beautiful 4th grade passage or 1st grade passage. So the biggest takeaway for me with all of this is it is a huge time-saving measure using AI. But the other key takeaway that everybody's playing with AI, and it's out there a lot in the news right now, is you can never replace that human interaction. So as we're playing with this and stuff, just remember you can never take away the human side. So with that, I'm going to let Carol show something she created really cool with her reading children. She works with a lot of students, ELL. So we're trying to motivate these kids. They're learning English plus readability, right? We have to change the text a lot and to make some things really motivating them to read. And Carol's going to show you some really cool things she did in our classroom with this. Yes, hey, but you did lots of cool things. But we're going to show you
All right, as Jane, well, and to piggyback on Jane, one of the things I'd say is not only the human interaction, but AI is not always 100% correct. And so like I uploaded some lesson plans and asked it to do a podcast because I thought that'd be a good homeschool communication with parents. But some of the information was incorrect because I had non-examples, but it didn't see it as non-examples. So I do think we still need to have humans monitoring AI, I guess, so to speak. So one of the things I try to do with my students is really to develop a love of reading and that habit of reading every day, because most of them are not in the habit of reading every day. And we work a lot on fluency. And so that reading every day is going to help with that. And we know that repeated readings improve fluency, rate, accuracy, expression. And that also then in turn supports reading comprehension. So Reader's Theater is a fun and engaging way to have students do repeated readings. However, most RT or reading theater scripts are designed for maybe 5, 6, 8 kids. And this particular group I had only had 2 students, but I could do a quick prompt and say, I had 2 characters. They liked roller coasters at Kings Island. Which one was best? And that's really all I gave it when I said, they were 4th graders, make it a 3rd grade readability level. And it came out with this great script with amazing detail about Kings Island. And it did it in about 5 minutes. And so then they were super excited about it. I've never seen them read dialogue with this expression ever before. And so then when they were going to perform it, I'm like, well, I'm going to get Mrs. Miller. And they go, well, will you get Mrs. Albani too to come listen? And so then last week I said, hey, I need a video. Will you guys do that script again for me? So they came up with the backdrop to this script. So this is just them, a few minutes of them doing their Reader's Theater.
before you play this, I just want to say, like, my background is special education, hers is reading and special ed. Something like this before would have taken us hours to do. And literally, you said 5 minutes, so it was probably really a
Probably, yeah.
minute or less to generate the scripts.
Jane's a better prompt writer than I am. It takes me a while to get prompts in.
But it's so cool, and they're just so excited.
It's got that awesome twisty track and the feeling that you're going super fast because of all the sharp turns. The racer is what real roller coaster fans love. Classic? The racer is just old. It shakes so much I almost thought I was gonna fall out last time. The Diamondback is smooth. You don't get all that jerking around. It's like gliding through the sky. You're wrong. The racer is the original thrill ride. It's been here forever and still gets people screaming. Plus, it's two tracks going at the same time, racing against each other. It's the best when you're on the red side and the blue side is right next to you.
But I think what's really cool about that too is just the level of differentiation that you can do just so
Yeah.
quickly and with all students, which is just amazing. So
I appreciate your comment. The right thing is not always the easy thing. Well, the right thing was to learn what AI is, and we're educators, and that's our first step. It was not easy for me. I'm not a tech person, so getting all the resources, there are so many resources out there, and they did a nice job of presenting that to us. But I think our next steps now are to take those resources and decide which ones are beneficial for elementary students, for middle school, for high school. And once we find out which resources we'd like to use with our students, then explore them, take time to look through them and really figure out how they work and how it can benefit our students. So we plan on taking this, all of three of us have been talking in conversation with our colleagues and have the spark for AI, taking to our grade level content level meetings, grade level meetings. So we plan on sharing this next year, and hopefully our knowledge gets bigger and bigger, and we can share our enthusiasm for that. So one of the resources they shared was Suno, and I know some of our colleagues have used the Suno. Sorry, I'm looking at my colleague over here. She created a song for her students on a cleanup song, like the cleanup routine. Well, we wanted to share with the board how easy it was. In about probably 3 minutes,
yeah.
3 minutes, we created a song for the board members. And so we'd like to play that as we transition.
But again, this is just so cool because lots of times, unless you have a Carrie Strader who can quickly come up with a song, but we do a lot of songs and chants for little kids. So let's say you need a cleanup song for first grader that's really motivating, and you want to use the names Jane, Becky, Terry, and Mike. And then you say you want it to whatever song. All of a sudden you put it in there and voila, you got a song. And we created one for you all. There you go.
Thank you.
Now while you're listening.
In our town where dreams are grown, you're the roots we've always known. Islands stand so strong, so true, guiding us in all we do. Megan steps forward with a vision bright. Her heart's a lantern in the night. Geronix care transforms the load. She paves the kindness on the road. Oh, cheers to the ones who dream. You're the fire in this team, building futures day by day. She paves the kindness on the road. Oh, cheers to the ones who dream. You're the fire in this team, building futures day by day, lighting up the Loveland way. Dr. Eric's wisdom, steady as stone, a healer with a heart that's home. Washburn, your voice, it holds the spark, guiding students. students through the dark. Behind the scenes, yeah, loud and clear, your dedication draws us near. In the sounds no one may see, but you're shaping history. Oh, cheers to the ones who dream. You're the fire in this team, building futures day by day, lighting up the Loveland way.
I want to say thank you to those individuals that presented, Carol, Jane, and Becky. Thank you very much. John Hart, our assistant principal at the intermediate school. John, you have a song for us?
I do not. Actually,
Okay.
the first thing I'm going to do is self-report, actually, because in discussion with Amanda, who will be coming up next, we discussed what we're going to do. We got the invitation from Mr. Broadwater. He said, "Are you going to make a PowerPoint?" Nah, I think I'm just going to do more narrative. And she goes, "Okay." She goes, LES is going to have something else. So LES, well done. Well done. So I do not have a presentation. Want to be a little more narrative. So our journey, our LIS AI journey has been kind of a parallel between the district cohort that we did, which was very, very beneficial. At the same time, we were creating an LIS-based AI team with our teachers. Speaking right around this time last year, Ms. Carter and I decided kind of that this obviously was something that was going to be beneficial for our kids. And, Adam Samuels and I were having some conversations in the hallway throughout the year, and you could kind of see this freight train coming at us, and we needed to figure out how we were going to jump on board and what way we were going to attack it. So we decided to visit a seminar that Butler County ESC put on. Amanda and David also went with Julie and I. Heard some superintendents speak, heard some lawyers speak, kind of got just a very, very broad brush of kind of where things are at and what things we need to be thinking about. Went back, decided that the LIS AI team was something we needed to do, put a group of teachers together to start exploring options. We decided on more of a 2-year rollout. The first year, this year was aimed at getting some teacher comfortability built in, trying to get our teachers to dip their toe in the water. One of the benefits of having a veteran staff is that they're very knowledgeable. One of the downsides of having a very veteran staff is that they're sometimes a little reluctant to put their toe in the water into some new things. I will say that our teachers at LIS have been jumping in for the most part. 70% of our teachers at this time are using AI in some way, shape, or form. And that's for their own personal use for the classroom. That was the idea this year, was to get them to explore the opportunities to build efficiency into their day. Things that were taking hours and hours of their time, content creation, assessment creation, rating, feedback, different things that they could do with AI in minutes that have been taking them hours. We wanted to make sure that they knew those things were out there and wanted to give them opportunities to try them in a very safe space without rolling them out outside of our doors. And they have been progressively more interested in doing those things. And it kind of, that whole piece from that angle kind of culminated in a spring PD we did with some teachers who, half our teachers and I already trained, the other half came into the PD with us. And what I asked those teachers to do at the end of that PD was take a lesson they were doing the following week with whatever standard that was, create a lesson, full lesson plan with an assessment, a bell ringer, and some type of independent practice. And what they were able to create in 5 minutes, maybe they wouldn't have used all of that next week when they ran their lesson, but I think it opened some of their eyes that hadn't tried it at all to these possibilities. The real benefit of having Heidi Bolly and Gretchen Watts and Amy Bush come to the AI cohort with the district was that they had a much higher level understanding of what was going on ahead. Their eyes had been open to some other things. They had tried some of these things. They had pushed some of these things very, very in very small doses into the classroom with students in some very, very teacher directed situations, and had seen the benefits of these things that were out there. And they were able to help during that PD to assist these other teachers to kind of cheer them on, be that vote of confidence that they needed to try something new. So at this point, like I said, 70% of our teachers are using it most of the time for those type of content creation things. And then But at the same time, 70% of our teachers said that they're not using it with their students at all yet, which I think is a good place to be, honestly, in year one. Trying to understand what's out there, trying to understand what the benefits are, what the dangers are, and where we can go astray. And I think that it was really the last question I asked on the survey I sent out was, how comfortable are you with AI at this point in time? 1 through 5, 1 being the lowest. 20 of the 23 teachers that responded said they were at 3 or less, which is perfectly fine. That is in year 1 of a rollout, which that tells me that they are, if they're not a 1, if they're a 2 or a 3, that means they're trying it. They're dipping their toe in somewhere and they're giving it an opportunity. The ones that are trying it are maybe not comfortable, but they do see the benefits, and they see, and the benefit really comes into, for me, our teachers are regaining some time that they were using on tasks that AI can spit out quickly, that they can put into other things with their students, or just regaining some more work-life balance, which is also incredibly important. So I think we're in a really, really good place. The AI cohort that we did with the district was incredibly beneficial. Mateus put out a wide net. He allowed us to see, what I took away from it was that was just scratching the surface of what is out there. But it was super amazing to see what things are possible. And I think that what I would finish up with is that our teachers are both excited and trepidatious. They see the benefits. They also feel very nervous about where student learning is going. And they want to make sure that we are not putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, with our student learning. And then I think that for me, my last thing is I think we are going from a situation where I was in school, where a lot of us were in school, it was information gathering, and we validated the source. We went and found Encyclopedia Britannica. We validated the source to make sure that it was a valid place to get information. Now we're getting the information, we need to validate the information. So we need to be checking, because the information is coming to us really fast. We're getting a ton of information. Now we need to make sure that the information we're getting is actually accurate. So we're in a good place at LIS. We're excited about where we're going. We're excited about what we learned this year. I think we have a nice team of teachers with especially Heidi and Gretchen and Amy who are leading the charge. We have some other teachers who are involved in the leadership cohort that are also kind of out front of this. So we're in a really good place at LIS.
Thanks, Jen. Amanda Robinson, our assistant principal at the middle school, is next.
Rule follower. Mr. Broadwater told us 5 minutes, so I will be in 5 minutes or less. Any of you that have survived raising a middle schooler or in the process of that recognize that middle schoolers are typically ahead of us in terms of what we know about technology. So I think the middle school is in a unique place where we really need to accelerate our learning, because students are definitely already dabbling in this. They are using it. They are in the Geminis, they're in the Chat GPTs, figuring out how to maybe cheat a little bit, figuring out how it can maybe help them. So I think in addition to participating in the AI cohort, we actually have some really phenomenal teachers that have actually started using this with their students. We have our Tigers 101 teachers. That's a 7th grade course that all of our 7th graders participate in, as well as our applied digital skills course that actually are starting to get in front of this with students and starting to make sure that we are teaching students responsible ways to use AI. And that's going to be an evolving type of lesson because those things are evolving as quick as we're teaching them. I have teachers that are very comfortable with it. I have teachers that are also super worried about apps like Sono. You know, they're trying to be creative with their lessons. They're using science lessons or social studies lessons where students are maybe taking facts from the Ottoman Empire and writing songs. Does that creativity disappear with an app like Sono? So Carolyn Turner, she's an 8th grade intervention specialist in our building. She also participated in the AI cohort. So we participated in those 6 workshops with Matthias. We really learned a lot, and we wanted to take that back to our teachers. So on March 7th for our PD day, we put on an hour-long training. We really focused on about 30 minutes of instruction and then 30 minutes of time for them to play. And in that, we really focused on some of the large language models. So those are ChatGPT, Gemini, where you're inputting a prompt and then they're spitting out an output to you. We have learned, Carolyn and I, that prompts are super important. The more specific you can be with your prompt, the better output that you're going to get. So we did a little bit of that. And then we also did dabble in some of the larger apps that are out there, Magic School, School AI, so that teachers can use some of those platforms that are a little bit more structured. For instance, my French teacher, she really wants to take authentic French text, news articles, but obviously the reading level of that content is much above a French 1 student. So she's able to take a current event, put it into like a Magic School, and they will differentiate the text to, for instance, a first grade level, because that's what a French 1 student is reading at. So she was really excited. She was actually one of my more hesitant teachers about AI, but she was super fascinated by those things. Jane mentioned that I was able, teachers like black and white. Teachers are like, there's a lot of tools out there. Can you give me something where like, I know like what this one does and what this one does and what this one does free and what this one does paid. So I did, I used Gemini and I said, hey, Gemini, can you give me a spreadsheet of all of the different AI apps out there? Tell me what it does. Tell me what the learning curve is. Tell me what is the free version versus the paid version. Give me a hyperlink to it and put it in Google Sheets. And it did it for me in about 30 seconds. And then I also had a couple apps that it didn't tell me about. So I was, hey, Gemini, can you also add these apps to this list? And it did it. It probably gave me a spreadsheet of what, 50 different apps? No, AI did it. No, I did not spend time doing that. That was a free subscription to Gemini. Now, I will tell you, Gemini did not behave every time. There was a couple times that I said, add this app and add this app, and it just spit out the same spreadsheet. I'm like, you're not doing it. I told you to add this. And that was like, I don't know, 7:30 in the morning. So I think it was just tired. Like I was. So the middle school is in a really good place. I feel really lucky to have participated in the AI cohort. I think, like the other administrators have said, I think our teachers are in a really good spot. And I think our students are getting into a really good spot. We've been working, David and I, with our content leads on perhaps developing a stoplight system for students. Red indicating to students that you are not allowed to use AI on this. Yellow, AI is acceptable, but maybe you have to cite it. Maybe you have to provide the prompts that you were using in a large language model, explaining to the teacher how you used it to assist you. And then green saying, hey, the sky's the limit, go ahead and use AI. So that's something I think we're kind of moving towards. But again, I think those processes will evolve as we learn more about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for following the rules, Amanda. I appreciate it. Was that 5 minutes? I just want to say thank you to everybody that presented this evening. It can be a little daunting to take an evening out from your family, but then B, to present to us up front. So I appreciate it very much. The whole purpose of the AI cohort really was to get teachers somewhat comfortable with the process and with the technology. I liken it back to, as an old high school math teacher, when you had the graphics calculators come out and we thought kids would forget how to do math if we used them. And so it's important that we understand that it is a tool that can be used. We as adults use it, but how do you do it such that it doesn't interfere with student learning, I think is very, very important. And it's different at each level. But I also like the fact with the cohort, we had all of our different level buildings represented so they could kind of talk through it together. It was fantastic. The presenter was fantastic. Matei was great. Thanks to Adam Samuels, our Director of Technology, and for Stacy Puerta, our Assistant Superintendent, for teaching and learning, for putting it together. I think it was extremely valuable. And from the district standpoint, we want to guide as much as we can and give guardrails, but we don't want to be too restrictive when it comes to learning in the classroom. So I think we achieved both of those with that. So thank you. I am now going to turn it over to
Mike,
Yes, go ahead.
before we go on.
Sure.
I want to comment. We've had some discussion, just thinking about what does this possibly look like policy wise in the long term? And just so, since you've all been in that sphere already thinking about that, I think what Mike just highlighted is really the heart of what we talked about, that that we certainly don't want to be prescriptive in how we describe that, but providing guardrails we think is going to be appropriate. So long-term, thinking about what's an appropriate use, what's not appropriate use. I loved your traffic light scenario. I think that's a great tool to use, but not necessarily a policy either. But a policy helps to think about what those appropriate uses would look like. But I think we're in a good place of, and I appreciate Mr. Broadwater's leadership on this in starting out with, let's get a better understanding before we move to a policy standpoint, because to come up with some kind of a prescriptive policy where we're putting in, then we're taking away the creativity and hopefully some of the not limiting the potential of the tools. And so I appreciate all the work you guys are doing on this. And I think it'll need to be, though, an ongoing discussion. And eventually, I think we'll need to land at that place, just because it's so wide open and there are so many possibilities that we're going to need some guardrails to make sure that we all are moving in the same direction.
I just wanted to add too, I think, Jane, you said about it doesn't replace human interaction. And I think when you talk about the prompts, I think the human interaction and the critical thinking, those skills become even more critical. It's something we always emphasize. So I appreciate the call out on the human interaction and the critical thinking. And Mike, your comments about it being a new tool. I was thinking about my kids who are, 19 to 27, and my 21-year-old that's now a junior in college, when he went in, where he was deciding where to go for his undergrad, the school, it's a business school, said coding is mandatory starting your freshman year. And that's such a pivot from his brother that's just 6 years older than him. And so these tools are coming at us very rapidly. And I think it's, really important that we continue to say, okay, how do we evolve from the calculator to Excel to coding to AI, whatever it might be, but the emphasis on, we cannot forget the critical thinking that goes into it, and making sure that we are, as Mr. Hart said, citing our sources now and really double checking the source of the information, and that, but that human interaction, the critical thinking is really important. But thank you. I'm really excited about this.
I think if you look at our strategic vision, something that we've focused on a lot this year is learning pathways and getting our students prepared for the real world. All of us adults use it quite a bit. And so we can't put our head in the sand and say you can't use it, but we also have to make sure our kids are learning. The human interaction, Carol, I love the two they were pretty fired up talking about roller coasters, and that's what it's about, right? Is getting them excited. So I appreciate you showing that video. That was cool. All right, I am going to turn it over. We have a leadership cohort. The purpose of the leadership cohort was we have so many fantastic leaders in the classroom in our entire district that it was a great way for us to, we had time this year. Let's develop leadership. Let's get to know who our leaders in the buildings are. And we've asked them to present, some of them to present, and some of them have been nice enough to volunteer to do that. And our first individual is Shannon Knudsen. So I will turn it over to Shannon.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. Excited to share our takeaways from the wonderful experience that was the leadership cohort this year. So as a kindergarten teacher, I've yet to meet a 5-year-old who comes in and says, Ms. Knudsen, when I grow up, I want to be the assistant superintendent of teaching and learning. And I think that as adults, there's still a lot of leadership opportunities within the district that we're less versed in than the teacher and the principal. So one of my favorite things was just learning how much work goes into that 5-star report card that we're so proud of, and just seeing how much dedication and planning goes into every single layer of everyone's jobs. Another piece that was really emphasized throughout the leadership cohort was just the different leadership styles and strengths. I felt like every single style was seen in a positive light, so it wasn't saying that there was a hierarchy within them. And it helped me to kind of see within my own leadership strengths when I might step up and speak out in different leadership roles, when to ask for help, and then also when to kind of take a step back and follow. So that was a really beautiful component of the leadership cohort that I really appreciated.
Thanks again to our incredible central office team for organizing the cohort, and to the board for letting us speak tonight. I'll let some of my incredible colleagues behind me echo a lot of the very numerous takeaways I have from our leadership cohort. The two biggest for me is in the 21st century learning, we talk a lot about voice choice in the classroom, giving students a say in what they learn and how they learn. And I thought there was probably not a more incredible experience than sitting down with Dr. Puerta and everybody behind me and looking at next year's professional development calendar and saying, how can we change this to best meet the needs of our students? And I can't speak to what any of those changes are going to look like, but man, what a rewarding experience that was to be able to see something that was personable to us. I'd also add that, man, as you learn about how each central office team functions, the relationships are well thought out. Who's doing what is really well thought out. The things you need to lead a building really well. I'd also say someone who has their their administrative licensure that's interested in what the superintendent's office does or what central office does as a teacher leader, immensely helpful to get some burning desired questions answered. And I really, really appreciate that. So thank you all very much.
I'm Carrie Strader. I teach third grade at LES, math and science and social studies and social emotional and all those other things. And I don't have my administrative license, right? My master's is in instructional tech. And so I've always thought coaching would probably be possibly a step for me. But I also always thought I'd be in the classroom, right? Like those are my babies at school and I love them immensely. And so getting to take on some more leadership roles at LES has kind of opened some doors for me. And so when I saw the cohort come about, Broadwater's like, so what do you think? I'm like, oh, well, okay, yeah, sure, okay, sounds great. And so I said yes, and it was just one yes that has kind of opened up a lot more doors for me, and just the opportunities that really can be presented in my future. They offered a day in the life shadowing, which I got to do yesterday with Matt Patterson. And got to hang out with him in the afternoon and see really the ins and outs of his day and all of the wonderful things that he's doing at LECC and these initiatives and just all of those components that I don't really consider as a classroom teacher. But I will say one thing that is my biggest takeaway is, this is my 13th year at Loveland, and I've always had, I'm proud to be a Tiger. I even have a yard sign, I think, somewhere in my classroom that says Tiger Pride. But honestly, after doing this leadership cohort, I now have a better understanding of Tiger Pride, right? Because even from the top down, I see good things happening. I see intentional choices being made, and I see it as kid-centered. And I walked away from those meetings every month fired up. I'm like, man, we're doing good things, and I'm proud to be a Tiger. So.
Good evening. Thanks for having us. For those of you who don't know, I'm Megan Little and I teach at LPS, and I was part of the leadership cohort, and I really enjoyed our experience together. I already do a lot of leadership roles in the district and have for years, and so kind of felt like I knew how to be a leader. But what I took away from this experience is that it's really important to understand your team's skill set. So to understand what they're really strong in and how to build a team. And I think I can use that in my classroom. I can also use it with my teachers that I work with. I think it's just a way for a team to work efficiently and, in a harmonious way. So I think that was my biggest takeaway, other than just really enjoying some of the experiences and discussions that we had. So thank you very much.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Hobson. I teach second grade at LPS. I got the email about the leadership cohort and I was like, oh, I will sign up because I'm a joiner. I like to go to things. I like to join things. If you know me, you know that I enjoy a group and I love to talk to people and stuff. And then I sat down, I was like, oh, I think this is for people who want to be principals. And that's not me, because I'm never leaving the classroom, because that's where, my heart is. But I, just like everybody else, I teach, I do a lot of leadership things at the building. And so it was a really cool cohort. I think it was really well done. I loved the time, listening to what everybody does. And one of the takeaways, another big takeaway, was our board office. They do, that central office does so many things. Each person, I was looking at I think it was Garth's sheet of high school teachers and how to make the teachers fit the classes that the kids want to take, and how that all works out with seniority and everything else. And it is mind blowing, the different things that they all have to do. I mean, Rich's job is nuts. Like Stacy, like the whole thing was just it reaffirmed that I'm a classroom person. I love the classroom. I'll continue to lead all of the groups at LPS because that's fun. But as a parent too, like it was awesome to see how hard y'all work. I mean, I knew it was going on. And I blindly, I bleed orange. Everybody knows that I am a tiger through and through. I went to Loveland, love Loveland. But I was like, I walked away as a parent, like, yeah, this is awesome. My tax dollars. Yeah. So I just want to say thank you. It was great. Again, you will find me in room 25 till the day I retire, but really fun. And I really appreciate it. I did not do the day in the life, but I did think about following Kevin Fancher around, who is my building principal, and just be like, what are you doing over there? Who are you talking to over here? Oh, you could send an email now and just like totally like do that to him. But I didn't. I resisted the urge to like follow him around and drive him crazy for the day. It would have been him or Garth, and Garth knows I was very close. And then he said he had to be in charge of the people who get expelled, and that didn't sound fun. So failed on that. But it was great. And I appreciate you guys and all of your hard work. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks for the opportunity. Thank you.
I'm Greg Krosky. I teach at the middle school. First off, let's set expectations. I don't have that level of energy, so don't expect that. I had a couple takeaways from the cohort. Number one is that everyone sitting back over there that no one on camera ever gets to see at a board meeting is doing about 7 jobs if you're in a Mason or a Lakota district. Like our board organizational chart is tiny compared to what those districts have. So the amount of work that they're getting done as one person is pretty staggering, and it takes a lot off the plates of teachers so that we can go teach. And I think sometimes as teachers, we don't appreciate that enough. So it was a good reminder of that. Another thing that was great was to speak with people in other buildings. Our grade banding is great. It's efficient. It helps financially tremendously, but we silo away, and it's 2 grades in a meeting. And even when we share a campus, sometimes we don't have that many conversations. And I know with the high school and the middle school, we don't always have those conversations. So being able to sit there when Dr. Puerta is bringing up PD, and I can say, well, this is what 8th grade would like, but how does 9th and 10th grade feel? Because you're the other half of that conversation. And really some of the things I think we have set up for next year are going to be super valuable and hopefully beneficial to kids going forward in the years that come after that.
Hi, I'm Herb Loftman. I teach at the high school. 2 takeaways I got. One, there's a picture out there of Garth with hair, so I'd still like to see that picture. We talked about that at a meeting for about 10 minutes that day, so that was amazing. Love you, Garth. Hey, to echo what everybody else said, those people over there do amazing things. And everyone sitting here, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to talk about culture. I'm going to take a little bit different of an angle, and I'll be quick. 5 years ago, the culture here was not good. It slipped. And I heard somebody over here early in the meeting say trust and transparency. That's just not community. That was our staff. And I'm one of them. And I felt guilty of that I lost trust in my leadership. And I fell into a rut. And I was cheating this individual sitting right here to my right. And he is one of my athletes, and he's one of the best students to come through the hallways of Loveland. So I caught myself in that rut. So when I got an email from Stace and Mr. Broadwater and everything, I needed to get out of that, and I needed to re-energize. And what a benefit it was to see how this group here, starting with that gentleman there and everyone over there, pulled us out of the ashes, and you have regained our trust. And that is leadership. I wanted to see behind the scenes how that was done. And boy, did I see it. And I want to be a part of it. And I don't care what they decide in Columbus. I don't care what they decide anywhere. I am proud to be here. And I have faith in every single person sitting here because of that leadership cohort. And I'm just proud that I'm re-energized, and hopefully I've created a good culture for you. Okay, just to put you on the spot. Say yes. But I do, and thank you. You've re-energized, and it was just like Greg said, talking within the buildings and just getting to learn how wonderful these people are in different grades. It's just not the high school. So I'm truly blessed. I just wanted to say thank you to all you guys again. Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate your guys' input.
Well, you can see why we have such a great district. Our students
Yeah.
have amazing people, and I appreciate you being here and talking from your heart. And we do have a great central office team. And I still haven't seen the picture with Garth with hair either, I don't think, but or Rich or Brian. No. Uh, But but I appreciate everybody being here and speaking from your heart. I know it's an evening away from your family. Thank you very much for being here and for all the good stuff. It's that's why it's such a great place to be, is people like that. So my last individual to introduce is Katie Schuckman. Katie joined our community advisory team a few months ago, and we have asked her a couple of weeks ago. We said, hey, would you be able to report out on CAP meeting number 3 and CAP meeting number 4? So we've got another individual that we've roped into presenting for us. So Katie, if you could just kind of review what you've learned in the last 2 community advisory team meetings.
Sure. So they were great meetings to be a part of. I feel like I'm going to take it down a notch from all that. But so at meeting 3, we talked about career pathways, and we discussed what success looks like for students. Tiger Pathways discussion starts in 6th grade, and then it becomes more personalized as they move through high school. Students also got up and gave us presentations on their internships with BF Realty and at Bethesda North, which for me was great to hear because my kid's still in kindergarten. So over at LECC, we don't always get to see this stuff. So that was really nice. We did get some survey feedback after the meetings. Some data points that people would like to see are things like career satisfaction, long-term employment rates, important skills we came up with that students need to succeed after high school are critical thinking and problem solving, oral and written communications, global fluency, teamwork, work ethic. Then we also had some ideas for program suggestions for Tiger Pathways, which include like career fairs, global languages club, maybe like a dress for success type of closet for students who don't have access to things like that. UC Blue Ash offers a class on career exploration that a member brought up. So maybe partnering with them or United Way and GCF. And then we also brought up how to connect with local businesses, which would be things like meeting with the local businesses or having the students make a video and give them a presentation just to get more internships and get them more involved. Invite them to the career fair. And then maybe talk with like Claremont County Chamber of Commerce. So that was the sum up from meeting 3. And then meeting 4 was facilities and Governor DeWine's budget proposal. So for the facilities, Mr. Bryant gave us a really thorough presentation on each of Loveland's facilities, which was good to see. We saw like the histories of the building, what it takes to maintain our grounds, things like plowing or parking lots that people don't always think of. And I think that was just really good for community members to see because that's just the work that kind of you expect to get done, but you don't think of all the work that goes into how to complete it. So then we moved on to Governor DeWine's budget proposal, which the presentation was given by Mr. Espy. It was very nice to hear that too, because we went into the finances of the school and what the current proposal will do. So we asked people to contact legislators with phone, email, letters, stay focused on the students, and then reference our 3 lobbying steps, which are on the flyer, which are on our website. And then spread the word and tell your friends. That budget will not be finalized till June 30th, and we have our town hall tomorrow. So the survey feedback from that was people would like more information on general business operations, the students, staff safety, especially on buses. And then people are curious about long-term building replacement plan after hearing about the different facilities. And then including in that the long-term enrollment projections, options available to add on to the buildings we currently have or to just start over with new buildings and how imminent is that need. But we need more data on that to decide. So thoughts on the governor's budget proposal was, do we need more districts in Hamilton County to join together to help us lobby for this action, not just individually districts, but if everybody could group together. Continue to have everybody call the legislators. And then kind of to present ourselves to the community and maybe people who aren't who don't necessarily have students in the district, but show that we are a large employer in the community. And we do have high community use in our buildings, on our fields with our buses. So kind of making it a presentation that is not just about the students here. And I mean, it is about the students in the school, but it's the community as a whole. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Includes your report?
That's all I have.
All right. So I mentioned earlier, we do have some updates to the student handbook that are being presented. This is a first reading of those tonight. So Dr. Puerta, you can come forward and share a bit about that.
Good evening. So I believe I put this in my board report last week as well, so you should have had a little bit of time to take a look at it. A lot of what's in, there isn't a lot to begin with, but most of what's in here is a lot of just language cleanup or making things a little bit clearer. For example, at the younger grades, we're separating out rather than saying just a $75 fee, we're saying 50 tech, 25 general, so just making it a little bit clearer. We are at LECC, PS, and ES, where we're just replacing MAP with iReady since we made that switch this year. And so we just want to make sure that that's in there and clear. And then the other big change is at LMS, we are changing that cell phone policy to align more with LIS. So those are really the big things. Everything else in there is really just, you know, taking certain things out or changing some words around and things like that.
Great. Thank you.
Do you have any questions about any of it?
Again, this is a first reading, so we'll vote on that next time, but make sure if you haven't had a chance yet to review that fully to do so before our next meeting. All right, next on the agenda is the Administrator Handbook. Garth.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Garth Collier, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Business Operations. First off, before we get started, as you guys can tell, we have really great staff here at the building. And they were very gracious with saying, oh my gosh, you know, the people at central office work really hard and they do a lot of things. I've got to tell you that is a shared concept with not only central office, but building level administrators then take on additional roles. Our teacher leaders take on additional roles. It's really an atmosphere where kind of like all hands on deck at all times. So as that was very nice to hear, I would just want to make sure to echo that there are lots of different people that do a lot of different roles and put a lot of hard work into making this place great. So the first item, talking about the Administrator's Handbook, there was only one small change there, and that is the Buildings and Grounds Supervisor. And it's actually typed into the agenda. You can see the only change. Building and Grounds Supervisor moving from Group 1 to Group 2. There aren't any other changes to the handbook at this time. So I would be glad to answer any questions that you have about that before I get into a rather lengthy other section part of my agenda. So.
Any questions about that? Then do we have a motion to approve the Administrator Handbook as presented?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Swetchnell,
Yes.
Mrs. Washburn,
Yes.
Reverend Eilert,
Yes.
Mrs. Jaranek,
Yes.
Mrs. Mangan.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
All right, so for this next section, of course, are the human resources recommendations. And there are quite a bit of things here that are on the agenda tonight. A couple of items were added after the first Friday night viewing that the board had. Those are highlighted in yellow. I'm going to kind of start at the top and kind of work through with some things I want to make sure to bring to your attention. Starting with A1, the very first thing here, that we have an aide from the middle school, Kathy Bruning, who has put in for her retirement. The effective date is correct. She's actually already put in for her retirement. That's going to be happening next school year in October. But if any of you are familiar with the middle school, she is somebody who has been a leader in the building, a trusted staff member working with our special needs students, and her service is over 20 years here at the district. So want to make sure to highlight that and thank her for her service. And no, yes, she still has to come back for opening day and to start us off next year in a great way. So, but we're going to make sure to honor her. So, And then if we go down to section B, this is the really fun part. So as we were talking about earlier, you know, we have a really veteran staff, but as we bring on new staff members, it's a really exciting time this time of year, trying to attract new talent and be putting the best people that we can in front of our students is really exciting. There are 3 people in section B that were actually on temporary contracts last year, and they're going to be able to have a regular contract this year. And that's B1 with our school psychologist, Jackie Jackson Dean. She's at a 0.6 FTE. Cassidy Bowman at the intermediate school as an intervention specialist. And then number 7 at LECC, Miranda Busmeyer. She's a kindergarten teacher. So we're lucky enough to be able to, she's sitting right here to my left. So she's going to have a moment to come up here and talk to you guys for a quick second. But really excited to be able to take those 3 individuals who were on a temporary basis for us this year and for us to secure them as regular staff members for the future was really great. Additional pieces for some new hires for last year or for this coming year. Number 3 with Anna Toole. She's going to be in addition to our intermediate school at 5th grade. She's graduating from Ohio Northern. So if there are any polar bears that are out there that are folks that root for them, she is familiar with Loveland. We had lots of references for her that were here local. And we are really and she's going to have a moment to come up here and say hi. She had experience with working in Milford, and we're adding a new preschool classroom to LECC, and we are super excited for her to join our team. So, and then we have a couple of high school folks. We have Joey Newton for the social studies position at the high school, and Jacob Hockett for our math position at the high school. Joey is coming to us from Colerain, and Jacob is graduating from Taylor University where he played football, and we are super excited about those folks coming on. Moving on, sorry, I'm not going to be into the 5 minutes, Mr. Broadwater. Sorry about that. The next thing that I want to do is to draw your attention to section H. When we first went over this, there were some questions. Basically, section 1 and section 2, there was a correction from a past board meeting that we're correcting. And the corrections to number 1 are 1A and 1B. The corrections for number 2 are 2A and 2B. So if you guys have any questions, I'd be glad to answer that. And then if you go to section K, that is all of our administrators renewing their contracts. Something to note there, you can see that the contracts are all 2 years in length with the exception of one of them, and that is Mr. Bill Cole. There isn't anything wrong with Mr. Cole, and there isn't a reason other than that Mr. Cole is going to be working with us in a reduced capacity for next year. He's only going to be working part-time at 0.5 of an FTE. And I'm super excited that you'll see there's an additional building and ground supervisor, and Larry Corley is here. You guys are going to get to meet him as well. All right. Let's see. One more thing. We can talk about the FTE chart because that's always exciting. Something to note is that I mentioned to you guys that we had a second shift custodian position that was open. That's a difficult position to fill. So I went ahead and reduced our FTE chart when we first had that person step away. We have secured somebody. That person is now with us and working, so the FTE chart increased by 1. So we're glad to welcome Keith Crooks as well. So I'd be glad to answer any questions that you guys have.
Questions for Mr. Collier? All right. You want to do your introductions first, or you want to?
How about we vote first?
And then,
yeah, and then I'll call the folks up to say a few words.
Excellent. So we have a motion then to approve the resolutions of the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources as presented.
So moved.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Washburn,
Yes.
Reverend Eiler,
Yes.
Mrs. Jernick,
Yes.
Mrs. Mangan,
Yes.
Dr. Swetchnow.
Yes.
All right. So this is a super fun part. So we're going to go in order here. This is not a rank order. It's just the order they happen to be on the agenda. So I am going to bring up Miss Tara Dupps. Please come on up. There isn't any expectation of what you have to do or say or how long this is going to be,
Okay,
but
well,
welcome.
I have
performed
high
in front of the little
expectations for what you're going to say.
Well, first, I just want to say it's really exciting to see so many familiar faces. What an amazing community to be coming back home to. So I'm a Loveland graduate, and right out of college, went and taught at Milford for 6 years, and then made the choice to stay home and raise my 3 little ones. So getting back in the classroom is super exciting, feels really fresh, and I'm excited to be here and coming back home as a teacher. So thanks for having me.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tara. And as I mentioned earlier, we were lucky enough to secure some of our folks who were on temporary contracts this year. And a great example of that, of us being excited to offer a regular contract, is Miranda Busmeyer. Miranda, if you would like to come up and say a few words, that would be great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You are.
So my name is Miranda Busmeyer. I am a Loveland community member. Both of my children go to Loveland, so it is very dear to me that I have the opportunity to work in these schools. I actually am a teacher because of Loveland, so my children's education lit a fire in me to get back to school. So thank you. I'm very happy and excited.
Thanks.
Thank
you.
you.
All right. And the next individual that what's that? Oh. That worked out well. We're going to have a parent-teacher conference right here. That's funny. And the next individual I'd like to call up is Mr. Larry Corley. Larry is going to be our Buildings and Grounds Supervisor. As the board knows, that we had a transition from 2 individuals, Mr. Ames in his role, and Mr. Bryan has transitioned into that role. And then Mr. Bill Cole. We're talking folks that have worked at the district for over 25 years and over 40 years. And we are trying our best to make sure that we are acquiring that knowledge that they have and having a successful transition. But we couldn't be happier for Bill to be stepping away in a way that he is ready to do that. Bill and I were able to talk a little bit about him wanting to reduce his role and to reduce his work, but at the same time for us to be able to tap into his knowledge and for the district to be able to bring somebody in like Mr. Corley, who already has some experience in this realm. He's currently working at the Forest Hill School District, doing the same type of role. So we are super excited for him to be here, for him to kind of learn the Loveland way and to kind of learn the ins and outs of our grounds and our buildings is going to be beneficial. So I would like to welcome Mr. Corley on up here.
Thank you all for the opportunity. I want you all to know that I'm a hard worker. My leadership style is I will roll up my sleeves and lead from the front, not the back. I believe in teamwork, hard work, and accountability, and I'm ready to start.
Excellent. Thank
Okay.
For coming in.
Thank you all.
All right.
All right. I would like to thank all of you who were here tonight to be able to welcome our new staff. Mr. Broadwater and I were talking today about really just about how lucky we are to be in a place where people really love the work that they do. And we have had a really great hiring season so far. You're not quite finished yet, and things always pop up, between now and summertime that we're not expecting. But we're really lucky because we attract the best, and we get many applicants for all of our positions. And it's just really great for you guys to be able to see our staff, kind of our veteran staff that you heard from, but also to see some of our new staff here. We are ready to go and are looking forward for a great year next year. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to jump in and say congratulations to Tara, Miranda, and Larry's ready to work, so he took off already. He's ready to go. But I do want to say thanks to Garth. I think everybody knows how lucky we are to have Garth leading the way when it comes to HR, but the hires that we've had this year have been fantastic, and it's because you saw the staff and the culture that's here. It's a place where people want to be, many reasons because of the staff and how hard they work. So congratulations. We're excited to have you. And now you can relax and get started next year.
Yeah, thanks for coming tonight. We appreciate you sticking with us through this whole meeting. And, but hopefully that was, as Mike was just talking about, hearing the other staff, hopefully that was inspirational as well. Think about the kind of culture that you're coming into and the kind of quality people who get to work alongside. And we're grateful for you bringing your gifts here and for becoming part of the team. So thanks for being here. All right, let's move on then to our next item, the treasurer report.
Yeah, thank you, President Eilert, members of the board. I just wanted to let you know this is going to be Luis's last meeting with us because he'll be graduating before the next meeting, I believe. And Luis and I meet every week, and it's really been great as a, I guess I should say, recovering teacher. To have interaction with students again, even if it's only an hour a week. And Luis has been just awesome. And coming in, rolling up his sleeves and just kind of seeing the method to my madness. And so I'm proud to have him lead us through the March finance report. So go ahead and take it away, Luis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. SB, for everything you've taught me so far. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you for the board for letting me be here today. I'm going to cover our March monthly analysis. So we're currently 3/4 of the way into fiscal year 2025, and we see expenditures and revenues currently showing a positive impact on the cash balance equal to 1.6% of total forecasted expenditures. Taking a look at expenditures, we see a 0.9% positive variance to forecasted expenditures, with salaries and benefits being lower than forecasted and supplies being higher than forecasted. And then with revenues, we see a 0.6% positive variance to forecasted revenues, with local taxes and investment earnings both being higher than forecasted. And looking at our interest income for the month to date, it was $97,684.03, and it was $802,552.10 for the fiscal year to date, which is nearly already greater than the entire last fiscal year. I'm also going to talk about our investment analysis. So I want to touch on our benchmark interest rates are about a full 100 basis points lower than last year in terms of the STAR rate. And our strategy is to continue to invest heavily in commercial paper, which is short-term borrowings typically issued for less than a year, which companies use for quick cash. For example, Kroger, they want to build a new marketplace without issuing any bond debt, so they will issue commercial paper instead to get the cash they need. And our property tax payment that came into STAR has now been moved to commercial paper.
You want to keep going? You're doing a really good.
Thank you for explaining commercial paper. Mr. Espy just throws that out all the time. So really appreciate you, going in a little more.
Good job.
More explanation.
So as we get into, unfortunately, the next slide isn't good news. And unfortunately, I have to deliver, bad news every once in a while. And this is one of those moments. When we look at the probable changes to federal funding, we're hearing that there could be a 20% reduction in Title I. And for that, for us, that equates to about $78,000. In Title II and Title III, we're being told to completely be reduced to nothing. So if we look at that complete elimination for us, that's an additional $112,750, and then $30,100 for a total reduction of $221,500. I do want to point out that this is not set in stone yet. We're not sure, really how this is going to work. There's also talk that there won't be necessarily dismantling of the Department of Education at the federal level, but there could be different departments that are kind of the watchdog over each different type of funding, which for us is a bit of a nightmare because there's really no standardized way of doing business and reporting. I can tell you that both myself and Dr. Puerta spend a good bit of time managing the madness that we deal with when we're talking about federal funding, the constant allocation changes, and then the coordination that it takes to make sure we communicate with our non-public schools that receive that, as well as all the different departments that touch this funding. So you know, this is kind of a stay tuned kind of a moment, but I did feel it important that the board know that this reduction could be coming and will likely affect our 5-year forecast. So any questions on that before I move on? Okay. Some
John-
ongoing,
Oh, sorry,
did
just,
you have a question?
obviously it's in flux and you have no clue, but is there any, when will we have more clarity on what's going to happen?
We were told May we should have a better idea of what this is going to look like going forward. I hope it's sooner than the state budget, so. Ongoing projects, and the first two are really not ongoing. They've already happened, but I want to let you know. I was able to present at my professional conference last week in Columbus. We presented on what to do when state funding is not enough, which is very apropos to what we're looking at right now with our state budget. I was able to present with 2 other school districts, and it's always, I feel like we always learn from one another and our colleagues, and I think that that's really what that conference is for me. But sitting next to 2 of my colleagues, looking at the same types of reporting that we were utilizing in our districts, I was very proud to be a Loveland Tiger, because when I looked at our enrollment and our staffing, ours was moving together. Theirs were moving apart. Enrollment was dropping, staffing was skyrocketing. So, you know, again, maybe Garth can get the FTE chart and copyright that, and you can get that and sell it to other districts in the state. Maybe a little side hustle, but really people need that. They really, really need that. And again, it was wonderful through that presentation to just admire that I'm sitting in this seat, and I appreciate the community and the board allowing me to do so. On to number 2, I did a national webinar for our data processing that I use in our analytics software. And it went really, really well. And so they're turning it into a national article too. So I'll let everyone know when that comes out, but it's nice to be able to be representing Loveland on the national level. On to the more boring things. We are doing fiscal year 26 budgeting. We've already had several budget meetings, have several scheduled this week, where we're going down, and it's an interactive meeting where we're talking about budgeting, and we're making sure that everyone kind of understands that process and empowering them and giving them the information to be able to work on a budget that then I look at, and then I take to Mr. Broadwater, and we work together to make sure we're all in agreement before we bring it back to the board for appropriations. Also monitoring the plethora of upcoming legislation and how it affects us. That's something that is really a daily and almost an hourly kind of thing that we're doing here. Also modeling the challenging legislative updates. One of them is the cash balance provision that we're hearing about with the House budget. Happy to get into a lot more detail tomorrow night, so I'll put a plug in to come to the town hall tomorrow if you want to learn more about that. Also happy to be grant writing, because that's part of our ongoing plan to bring in additional funding for the district. We've now written over $850,000 in new grant proposals. There are also opportunities now that I'm working with the grant writer to work not only with the foundation in terms of grant writing, but also with Tigers Inc., as we're trying to put together all those funds for the Steve Kenyon Memorial Outdoor Classroom. So it's really going to be a nice collaborative effort as this continues to grow. We also have looked at athletic and extracurricular ticketing processes after I went to a meeting with other treasurers. So we've kind of standardized that process and created some norms. Also updated our payroll processing checklist and verification process, just another layer of how we're checking everything we're doing. We're also working on completely changing the way we budget our PI account next year, along with all the various budget managers that are going to touch that. And then the Finance Friday Education Initiative continues to go on, where we are doing a cadence of video, graphic, video, fact. So it's nice now I'm able to tie back some videos to some of the facts. So if you have any ideas for something you'd like to learn about on a Finance Friday, feel free to shoot me an email or come see me, and we'll make sure that that becomes a reality. Moving on, our savings chart. So I started this to just kind of keep track of all the good news, because like I said, I have to bring bad news every once in a while. So I wanted to share some good news. So again, we saved $11,300 on our gas utility invoice in January of 2025. We're more than a $2 difference in our unit price savings between $3.29, what we're achieving, and the market rate, which was $5.65 during that month. And we've saved through December 2024, from when this contract began, $973,000. When we look forward to number two, we're basically getting paid to pay our bills, and that comes by way of a rebate. Last fiscal year, we brought in over $9,500 just by paying our bills. The electricity capacity contract that the board approved at our last meeting to avoid PJM cost is a savings of $94,000. That's 15% of our projected annual electricity expenditures total. So that's within the entire district. So being able to reduce costs by 15% is kind of unheard of right now. So happy to bring that. And then the LED lighting project at LHS is projected to save $31,000 per year, which is 12% of the high school projected annual electricity expenditures. So again, just really good stuff going on there in terms of what we're able to save. Getting into that energy capacity contract a little bit more, again, it's $5,150 that we're avoiding per month beginning in June. Over the next course of the next couple of years, we're going to save $94,000. And it's interesting too, we're starting to get emails about, other vendors saying, hey, we can help you avoid your PJM. I'm like, that was like, so 2 months ago. So it's interesting now, people are catching on. And then the lighting project, we're able to go from 19-watt fluorescent to 9-watt LED. We're starting with the high school, and basically the entire high school campus is getting a lighting upgrade, and that's going to save that $31,000 per year, including the stadium. And I just wanted to also point out, tomorrow again, we've got our state budget town hall. I've had community members come up and say, is this a levy? Is this a levy discussion? And it's not at all. It's a discussion about our state budget and the funding and how it affects us right now, and things that we think we need to do right now in our community and to engage our community. It's a learning session. That's all it is. But it's an important learning session. And then finally, I just want to put a plug in. Check out those Finance Fridays. Got another one coming out on the riveting topic of outside and inside millage this Friday. So stay tuned. I know the energy in the room is palpable. So just keep that and watch it on Friday morning.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Espy, for your report. Any questions for Mr. Espy on the financial reports as presented? Do we have a motion to accept and approve the financial reports for March 2025?
So moved.
Second.
A roll call, please.
Reverend Eilert,
Yes.
Mrs. Jarnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Mangan,
Yes.
Dr. Swetchenow,
Yes.
Mrs. Washburn.
Yes.
Just want to point out, those will be on the website tomorrow under the document section on my website. You can see all 72 or 75 pages of the report that the board approves.
Excellent. Thank you. 6.2 donations.
Yes, happy to bring to you, again, Kevin and Cecilia Watts, $300 for the Feed the Kids Fund, $1,000 from Peggy Johnson for the Be the One Scholarship. Loveland Elementary PTA donated $30,000. And being because I'm not allowed to serve on the executive committee of the PTA, I'm the assistant to the regional manager of technology for the PTA. But I will say that this group is just an awesome group. And to see what they do with fundraising and the energy they put in for our students is awesome. And so just like all of our other, groups that, booster groups, but $30,000, they're essentially funding $10,000 at LECC, LPS, and LES into the principal's 018 accounts. So I think that's just a huge testament to the partnership that we have with our local support groups. So I just want to recognize that. And then I want to also recognize the Loveland Schools Foundation, $30,000 donation to the Steve Kenyon Memorial Outdoor Classroom. And that was to allow the district to make payment on some of the items just from insurance reasons. But we just want to thank the Loveland Schools Foundation for the continued partnership and also the partnership that they're utilizing with Tigers Inc. and Green Team. It's just, we hear it takes a village, and it really does. And it's a great place to be. And I just wanted to say thank you to both of those organizations for those huge donations to the district.
Excellent. Thanks for highlighting those other donations. And we need a motion then to approve these two donations that are highlighted here.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Jarnick,
Absolutely, yes.
Mrs. Mangan.
Yes.
Dr. Swetchenow.
Yes.
Mrs. Washburn.
Yes.
Reverend Eilert.
Yes. Thank you. All right. We had a number of policies that we looked at our last meeting and as a first reading. And so this now is our second reading of these policies that you see listed here. Any additional questions or corrections to these policies as presented? Do we have a motion to approve the policies? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Mangan.
Yes.
Dr. Swetchenow.
Yes.
Mrs. Washburn.
Yes.
Reverend Eilert.
Yes.
Mrs. Jarnick.
Yes.
Thank you. Want to also just say we had lifted up in our public participation tonight, DEI and concerns about where things are headed in terms of the state and the federal level and some of the things that have been stated. We've been talking about that as board leadership as well and talking with our attorney just to make sure that as we look at all of our policies that we make sure we stay within compliance, but also that we maintain the integrity of the priorities that we have as a district. We have a DEI statement that we spent a lot of time working on as board leadership a number of years ago that I know that we're all supportive of. It's a statement. It's not a policy, which does give us a little bit of a difference in terms of how we approach that. And I know too, I was looking at our strategic plan again. And item 2C in our strategic plan that we say we will establish a culture where every student is a valued member of our school community. There's no mention of diversity, equity, or inclusion in that statement, but the commitments remain the same, that we believe every student is a valued member of our community. We're going to treat every student with the dignity and respect that they deserve. And we're going to continue to create a creative learning space where all of our kids can continue to grow as individuals. And those are commitments that we make to our students and to our families and to our community. And we simply need to think about how that all happens within some of these new strictures that are coming from our government leaders. So we'll continue to work on that, but I just wanted to make sure we address that and for the community to know that we're looking at that within our policy discussions, and we'll continue to see where that goes into the future. Any questions, comments about that from other board members? All right, and we do have our official award here to show to the community. Is that still in our slide deck? It's in the board agenda, so you can see it there. If you'd like to take a look at it.
I'm going to put it up on the big screen.
Yeah. So congratulations again.
Copies for everybody who's here tonight.
Yeah. We have a sideways copy in our.
Yeah.
In our,
We'll have
agenda.
glossy ones next month.
So again, congratulations on that award, and certainly your report reflects the kind of excellence that we see happening every day out of your office. So appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
All right, and finally, we have a motion to adjourn,
Second?
and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 7:44 PM.